My name is Ethan, and until recently I thought I understood what love and loyalty truly meant. I believed marriage was built on trust, honesty, and mutual respect. My wife Ashley and I had been together for nearly 10 years. We laughed at each other's jokes, supported each other's dreams, and navigated life's challenges side by side. Or so I thought. Everything changed the night I came home early from a business trip. I walked into my own bedroom and discovered a secret so devastating it shattered my world in an instant. The very person I had trusted above all others had betrayed me in the worst possible way. But the real nightmare began when I decided to take legal action against her. Because as soon as Ashley realized I was serious about seeking justice, she hatched a plan so twisted it nearly ruined me. She claimed I had abused her, trying to paint herself as a victim while making me look like a monster. She bruised her own arms, screamed for help, and threatened to destroy my reputation. But what Ashley didn't know was that I'd been preparing for her deception all along. Hidden cameras, secret recordings, a silent witness to every lie she told. Curious to find out how it all played out, and how I turned the tables on my unfaithful wife? Looking back, I should have seen the signs. They were all there, clear as day. But when you love someone, you ignore the red flags, convincing yourself that you're just being paranoid. Ashley had been acting strange for months. Late nights at work, a new obsession with her appearance, the way she always kept her phone face down on the table. At first, I chalked it up to stress. Maybe she was just going through something, but deep down, I knew better. One night, as I lay in bed, she got up to take a call in the bathroom. The door was shut, but I could hear the hushed whispers, the nervous laughter. When she came back, I asked casually, "Who was that?" She hesitated just for a second before forcing a smile. "Just Jenna, she's going through a breakup." I wanted to believe her, but something about the way she avoided my eyes made my stomach tighten. Still, I didn't push. I didn't want to be that guy, the jealous, insecure husband. But the doubt had already taken root in my mind, and once that seed was planted, there was no stopping what came next. Doubt is a dangerous thing. Once it settles in, it grows, twisting everything into suspicion. I told myself I was imagining things, but deep down, I knew the truth. A week after the phone call, I decided to test a theory. Ashley had told me she was working late, again. Instead of waiting at home, I drove to her office, parking a block away. The building was dark except for a few floors, but I knew where she worked. Her car wasn't there. I sat there for a moment, gripping the steering wheel, my pulse pounding in my ears. Maybe she had parked somewhere else. Maybe she had taken a cab. Maybe... But I was done making excuses. I pulled out my phone and did something I'd never done before. I opened the tracking app. We had installed it years ago, just in case of emergencies. I had never needed it until now. Her location wasn't at the office. It was across town, at an address I didn't recognize. A residential neighborhood? My fingers tightened around the phone. I took a deep breath. I had two options: ignore it, pretend I never saw it, or go see for myself. I put the car in drive. I needed to know. My hands were steady on the wheel, but my mind was racing. Every possible excuse ran through my head. Maybe she was visiting a friend. Maybe it was a surprise for me. Maybe... enough lies. Enough pretending. I pulled up to the house, killing the engine. The neighborhood was quiet, the kind of place where people left their porch lights on but never expected trouble. Her car was right there, parked in the driveway. For a few minutes, I just sat there, staring at it. My chest felt tight. I had hoped, prayed that I was wrong, that there was some logical explanation. But deep down, I already knew the truth. I stepped out of the car and walked toward the house, my footsteps silent on the pavement. The windows were dark except for one, on the second floor. Shadows moved behind the curtains. Then I heard it. Laughter, her laughter, and a man's voice. Low, intimate. My stomach twisted, and for the first time I felt something break inside me. I could turn around, walk away, Pretend I never saw this. Or I could find out exactly how deep this betrayal ran. I chose the second option. Moved quietly, my breath steady, my heartbeat anything but. Standing beneath the window, I could hear everything. Soft murmurs, a hushed giggle, the sound of sheets shifting. My fingers curled into fists. This was it. Proof. No more doubts, no more excuses. But hearing it wasn't enough. I needed to see it with my own eyes. The front door was locked, of course, but the side gate? It creaked open with barely a push. I stepped into the backyard, my shoes sinking slightly into the damp grass. A back door, a sliding glass one, no alarm. Either they were careless or they just never expected to get caught. My hands trembled as I pulled out my phone and started recording. I moved toward the patio, peering through the crack between the curtains. And there she was, Ashley, my wife, straddling a man I had never seen before. Her nails raked down his back, her lips parted in a breathless moan. Something inside me snapped. I had envisioned this moment before, but nothing could have prepared me for the sheer rage and heartbreak that flooded through me. I could barge in right now, yell, scream, make a scene. But no, this needed to be bigger, smarter. She thought she could betray me and get away with it. She had no idea what was coming. I forced myself to step back. Every instinct screamed at me to kick down the door, to drag him out of my house, to make her feel even a fraction of the pain she was putting me through. But that would be too easy. Too impulsive. Number. If I was going to do this, I had to be smart. I had to make her pay the right way. I ended the recording and slipped away from the window, my grip tightening around my phone. Evidence. Cold, undeniable proof of her betrayal. It was a start, but I needed more. Back in my car, I sat in silence, staring at my reflection in the rearview mirror. The man looking back at me wasn't the same one who had left for work that morning. I wasn't just a husband anymore. I was a man with a plan. I spent the next few hours preparing. Bank records, shared accounts, the house deed, everything we owned together. I made sure I had copies of it all. I wasn't going to let her take anything from me. Then I made the call. The lawyer picked up on the second ring. "I want a divorce," I said, my voice steady. "And I want to make sure she doesn't get a dime." This was just the beginning. Filing for divorce was just the first step. If Ashley wanted to betray me, she would learn the hard way that actions have consequences. But I knew my wife. She wasn't the type to admit guilt and walk away quietly. She would fight. Lieutenant? Manipulate? I needed to be ahead of her every step of the way. The next morning, I acted like nothing had changed. I kissed her on the cheek before leaving for work, told her I'd be home late. She smiled, completely unaware that I knew everything. The truth was, I didn't go to work. I went to a security store. "Hidden cameras," I told the guy behind the counter. "Small, high quality, easy to hide." By the time I left, I had exactly what I needed. Tiny motion-activated cameras, ones that could be placed in discreet spots all over the house. That night, while Ashley was in the shower, I set them up. One in the bedroom, one in the living room, another near the front door. If she thought she could keep lying to me, she was in for a surprise. I wasn't just going to catch her, I was going to destroy every excuse she could come up with. With the cameras in place, all I had to do was wait. Ashley had no idea she was being watched, no clue that every lie, every secret meeting was being recorded. The next few days were almost surreal. She acted normal, maybe even more affectionate than usual. A guilty conscience, perhaps? Or just another layer to her deception. Then, on Friday night, she slipped up. "I'm exhausted," she sighed, stretching on the couch. "Think I'll go to bed early." I nodded, pretending to believe her. "Yeah, you should rest." An hour later, while I slept in our bedroom, she left. I watched on my phone as the front door camera captured her sneaking out. 10 minutes later, a car pulled up. Not a cab. Not a rideshare. His car. I clenched my jaw as I watched her slide into the passenger seat, laughing at something he said. She kissed him before they even drove off. My fingers tightened around my phone. This wasn't just a mistake. It wasn't an accident. She was fully committed to her betrayal. Good. Because when I was done, she would have nothing left. The video was crystal clear. Her slipping into his car. The way she kissed him like she hadn't just lied to my face an hour earlier. It was everything I needed, but I wasn't done yet. The next morning, while Ashley was still asleep, I transferred the footage to my laptop, backing it up in multiple places. A USB drive, a cloud account under a new email, a hidden folder on my work computer. She wasn't going to talk her way out of this. At breakfast, she was all smiles. "You slept well?" she asked, sipping her coffee like she hadn't just spent the night in another man's arms. I smiled back. Like a baby. She had no idea. Over the next week, I let her think everything was normal. She kept sneaking out, kept lying. Every time my cameras caught it all, the way she fixed her hair before leaving, the way she whispered into her phone when she thought I wasn't listening. Then, just as I had enough evidence to bury her, she made her biggest mistake yet. She found out about the divorce papers, and that's when she decided to turn the tables. I had expected anger when she found the divorce papers. Maybe even fake tears, some dramatic plea to make me reconsider. What I didn't expect was the level of deception she was willing to sink to. It started subtly. She became tense. Her usual smug confidence wavered. One night, I caught her staring at me from across the room, her jaw tight, her fingers gripping her wine glass a little too hard. Then, the next morning, she called out sick from work. Stayed home all day, didn't text, didn't sneak out. Just watched me. Something was off. Then it happened. I came home from running errands to find her sitting on the floor in our bedroom, her arms bruised, her lips slightly swollen. Tears streamed down her face as she flinched when I stepped closer. "What the hell happened?" I asked, playing my part perfectly. She looked up at me, voice trembling. I can't do this anymore, Ethan. I have to tell someone. I have to tell the police." It hit me like a punch to the gut. She wasn't just going to fight the divorce, she was going to frame me. My mind raced as I stared at her. The bruises, the tears, the broken look in her eyes, it was all an act, but a damn convincing one. She was setting me up. I forced myself to stay calm. "Tell the police what, Ashley?" She sniffled, her shoulders trembling. "I can't keep covering for you, Ethan. I know you're stressed, but I never thought it would get this bad." There it was, the carefully placed accusation. She wasn't outright saying I hurt her, but she was planting the idea, giving herself a way to twist the narrative however she wanted. I clenched my fists. "Ashley, I have never laid a hand on you." She flinched, an exaggerated reaction. I don't know what you'll do if I say the wrong thing." I exhaled slowly, forcing my expression into one of concern instead of fury. "You need help, Ashley." She let out a shaky breath. "No, Ethan, I need to protect myself." And just like that, she reached for her phone. I knew exactly who she was about to call, but what she didn't know was that every second of this was being recorded. Ashley's fingers hovered over her phone screen, her breath coming in short, shaky gasps, like she was building up the courage to make the call. She wanted me to react, to panic, to grab her wrist or shout so the call would capture proof of my aggression. But I wasn't going to give her what she wanted. Instead, I took a step back and folded my arms. "Go ahead, Ashley. Call them." Her eyes flickered with hesitation. She hadn't expected that. I kept my voice calm. "Tell them everything. Tell them how scared you are. Tell them about these bruises you suddenly have. Because when they get here, we'll show them the footage." For a split second, pure fear flashed across her face. What? What footage?" I smirked. "You think I wouldn't protect myself?" You think I didn't see this coming? She swallowed hard. Yeah, you're bluffing. I pulled out my phone, tapped a few buttons, and let the video play. There she was, sitting in front of a mirror, punching her own arms, scratching her own skin, her face drained of color. Checkmate? Ashley's lips parted, but no words came out. Her eyes darted between me and the screen, watching the undeniable proof of her own deception. She had no way out. You were spying on me? She finally whispered, her voice shaking. I laughed. Spying? No, Ashley. I was protecting myself, because I knew exactly what kind of person you are. Her hands clenched into fists. The fake tears were gone, replaced with something colder. Rage. This doesn't mean anything, she spat. You can't prove when that was recorded. I smirked. Actually, I can. Timestamps, metadata, everything. And just to make sure nothing happens to the footage, I sent copies to multiple places. My lawyer has it. My cloud storage has it. If anything happens to me, Ashley, this video goes straight to the police. Her breathing was uneven now. I could see the gears turning in her head, trying to figure out a way to spin this. But there was no escape. You tried to ruin me, I said, taking a slow step toward her. You wanted to paint me as a monster. Now tell me, Ashley, who do you think people will believe when they see the truth? For the first time, she looked truly afraid. Ashley stumbled back, her confidence shattered. I could see the war raging inside her, fight or flee. Then she chose fight. You think this is over? She hissed. You think just because you have some stupid videos, I won't find a way out of this? I crossed my arms, unimpressed. You really don't get it, do you? There is no way out. Every lie you've told, every trick you've played, it's all falling apart. Her eyes narrowed. You still don't have proof of the affair. I laughed. You really think I didn't cover all my bases? I pulled up another video on my phone. This time, it was the footage of her sneaking out at night. The way she kissed that man in his car. The way she whispered to him like I never even existed. Ashley's face paled. Ethan? No, I cut her off. You don't get to explain. You don't get to twist this into something it's not. You were caught, Ashley, and now you're going to pay for it. For the first time, she had nothing to say. She just stood there, shaking as reality crashed down around her. Ashley's breathing grew shallow. Her hands trembled, but not from sadness, from pure, unfiltered fear. Please, Ethan, she finally whispered. We can fix this. I almost laughed. Fix this? After everything? You mean I can fix this for you, I corrected. You don't care about what you did. You only care that you got caught. Her jaw clenched, and for a moment I saw the real Ashley. Cold, calculating. You think you're untouchable just because you have some videos? I tilted me head. Oh, I know I'm untouchable now. Her lips parted, but I wasn't done. Let's talk facts, I said, my voice steady. 1. You cheated. I have video proof. 2. You tried to frame me for abuse. I have that on video too. 3. You're about to lose everything in this divorce and there's nothing you can do to stop it. Her nostrils flared. You don't know that. I smiled. I do, because I already sent everything to my lawyer. And guess what? He's very interested in how you plan to ruin my life. Ashley's confidence cracked like shattered glass. For the first time, she knew she had lost. Ashley stood there, shaking, her mind scrambling for an escape route that didn't exist. Every time she opened her mouth, she closed it again, because she knew she was trapped. You can't do this, she finally muttered. You can't just ruin my life over a mistake. I scoffed. A mistake? Ashley, forgetting an anniversary is a mistake. Leaving the stove on is a mistake. What you did, that was a choice. Over and over again. Her eyes burned with frustration. So what? You're just going to destroy me? I leaned in slightly. No, Ashley, you destroyed yourself. Tears welled in her eyes, but I wasn't buying the act anymore. You don't have to do this, she whispered. We can work something out. I shook my head. You already did work something out. With him. Behind my back. While you were sneaking around, I was making sure you'd never take a single dime from me. She inhaled sharply. What? I pulled out another document. This is proof of every dollar you spent from our joint account on your little affair. Gifts, hotels, dinners, all of it. And now, thanks to you trying to frame me, my lawyer's making sure you walk away with nothing. Her face twisted in horror. She finally understood. Ashley's hands trembled as she grabbed the document, her eyes darting over the evidence. Every transaction, every sneaky dinner, every hotel charge, all tied to her affair. She looked up at me, her face drained of color. Ethan, please. It was pathetic. Please what, Ashley? I asked, my voice calm. Please forget that you cheated? Please ignore that you tried to frame me? Or maybe, just maybe, you want me to let you walk away with half of everything after you destroyed our marriage? She clenched her jaw. You don't have to be so cruel. I let out a short, humorless laugh. Cruel? No, Ashley. Cruel was what you did when you kissed him in my house. Cruel was trying to paint me as an abuser just to cover your own sins. Her breathing was uneven now, panic settling in. You can't leave me with nothing, she blurted out. I gave up everything for us. I raised an eyebrow. Funny. Looked more like you gave everything to him. She gritted her teeth, but I could see the realization settling in. Her lies had crumbled. Her options were gone. She had nothing left. Ashley's breathing turned shallow. Her eyes darted around the room like a cornered animal searching for a way out. But there was none. This isn't fair, she whispered, her voice shaking. I tilted my head. Fair? You want to talk about fair? I chuckled bitterly. You cheated, Ashley. You lied. You tried to destroy me to save yourself. And now that it's all coming back to you, now you care about fairness? She swallowed hard. I made mistakes, Ethan. But you don't have to do this. I smirked. Oh, but I do. She clenched her fists. You think you're better than me? You're acting like some perfect victim, but let's be real, Ethan. You enjoy this, don't you? Watching me suffer? I leaned forward slightly. No, Ashley, I enjoy justice. Her face twisted in fury, then in panic. What if I go public? What if I tell people you were controlling, that you were manipulative? I laughed. Go ahead, but remember, I tapped my phone. I have the truth, and the internet loves the truth. Her lips quivered. You wouldn't, I grinned. Try me. For the first time, she had nothing left to threaten me with, and she knew it. Ashley's face twisted in frustration, her mind racing for a way, any way, to turn this around. But she was out of moves. Then she played her last card. If you do this, she whispered, her voice low, I'll make sure everyone thinks you're the villain. Even if you have your little videos, I can still spin this. People love a victim, Ethan, and I know exactly how to cry for sympathy. I smirked. And I know exactly how to ruin a liar. She flinched. You see, Ashley, this isn't just about what I know. It's about what everyone else will see. And trust me, once this gets out, you'll be finished. Her lips trembled. You wouldn't do that to me. I stepped closer. I don't have to. You already did it to yourself. Silence. She looked away, her chest rising and falling unevenly. It was over. Sign the divorce papers, I said calmly. Take whatever dignity you have left and walk away. She bit her lip so hard it turned white. I could see it in her eyes. She knew she had lost, and for the first time, she looked truly broken. Ashley stood there, fists clenched, her whole body shaking. She wanted to fight, to argue, to win. but there was nothing left to grab onto. I watched as the reality of her defeat settled in. It was almost pathetic. She inhaled sharply. What do you want from me? I crossed my arms. I already told you. Sign the papers. Take your loss and walk away. Her jaw tightened. And if I don't? I smirked. Then I make sure everyone sees exactly who you are. Your friends, your family, your boss. Every lie you ever told, every manipulation, every betrayal. I'll make sure it follows you for the rest of your life. Her breath hitched. For the first time, I saw real fear in her eyes. You wouldn't, she whispered. I raised an eyebrow. You willing to bet on that? She bit her lip, looking down at the papers on the table. Her hands trembled as she reached for the pen. For a moment, she hesitated. Then slowly, defeated, she signed her name. The second she lifted the pen, I let out a breath. It was done. She had lost. Ashley stared at her signature, her fingers still gripping the pen like she could somehow take it back. But it was over. The ink was dry. She looked up at me, her expression hollow. Is this what you wanted? I met her gaze unwavering. What I wanted was a wife who loved me. What I got was a liar and a cheat. Her eyes flickered with something, regret, anger, maybe both. But it didn't matter anymore. You think this makes you the good guy? She muttered. Like you didn't enjoy watching me break? I tilted my head. Oh, I enjoyed it. But not because I'm cruel, because you deserved it. She let out a bitter laugh, wiping at her face. So that's it? You destroy me and walk away? I shrugged. No, Ashley. You destroyed yourself. I just made sure everyone saw it. Silence filled the room. For the first time, she had no comeback. No excuse. No manipulation left to play. She turned away, staring at the wall like she was trying to process the fact that this was real, that she had actually lost. And me? I picked up the papers and walked out the door. I wasn't looking back. The door clicked shut behind me, and for the first time in months, I felt something I thought was long gone. Relief. Ashley was finally out of my life. No more lies, no more gaslighting, no more sneaking around behind my back while pretending to be the perfect wife. I stepped out onto the street, inhaling the cool evening air. The weight on my chest? Gone. My phone buzzed in my pocket. A message from my lawyer. Papers received, everything's in motion. She gets nothing. I smirked. Perfect. I imagined Ashley inside staring at the empty space where I used to be, realizing she had lost everything. No more lavish lifestyle at my expense. No more playing the victim. No more me cleaning up her messes. She wanted to ruin my life? Instead, she had destroyed her own. And the best part? I didn't have to lift a finger. She did it all to herself. I glanced up at the night sky, exhaling one last time. I was free. I barely made it a block before my phone buzzed again. This time, it wasn't my lawyer. It was Ashley. I stared at the screen. A single message. Please, can we talk? I scoffed. Now she wanted to talk? Now that everything was falling apart around her? I ignored it and kept walking. But then, another buzz. Ethan, I'm sorry, I messed up. Please don't do this. I stopped. A part of me expected this. Ashley wasn't the type to go down quietly. She would claw, beg, manipulate, anything to regain control. A call came through. I let it ring. A voicemail popped up. Against my better judgment, I played it. Her voice was shaky, almost unrecognizable. Ethan, I don't know what to do. You can't just leave me like this. I'll lose everything. Please, just... Can we talk? One last time? I stared at my phone. Expression unreadable. Would she beg for forgiveness? Try to spin another lie, or was she finally broken for good? I exhaled sharply. I had a choice to make. I shouldn't have answered. I knew better. but something in me wanted to see her one last time, to hear what she had to say when there were no more lies left to tell. So I sent a single reply. Fine, one last time. Coffee shop on 5th, 30 minutes. No heart emojis, no pleasantries, just business. When I arrived, Ashley was already there, sitting in the farthest corner of the cafe. She looked different, disheveled, anxious, almost small. Her usual confidence was gone. I sat down across from her. Say what you need to say. She hesitated, fingers tracing the rim of her untouched coffee. Ethan, I know I hurt you, and I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but... She swallowed hard. I don't know what to do. I leaned back. That's not my problem, Ashley. Her eyes flickered with desperation. But you can help. You could tell your lawyer to go easy on me. I let out a dry laugh. After everything? You seriously think I'd do that? She bit her lip, staring at me like I was her last lifeline. Ethan, please. But I just shook my head. You're on your own, Ashley. Her face fell. She knew I meant it. Ashley's breath hitched. Her hands curled into fists on the table, but her voice was barely above a whisper. You're really going to do this to me? I sighed, shaking my head. Ashley, you did this to yourself. I just stopped cleaning up your mess. Tears welled in her eyes, but I felt nothing. I had spent too much time believing those tears, thinking they meant something. But now I saw them for what they were. Just another performance. She exhaled sharply, gripping the edge of the table. What if I tell everyone you set me up? That you manipulated me into signing those papers? I smirked. You could try, but let's be real. Who's going to believe the woman caught cheating and faking domestic abuse? She flinched. You see, Ashley, I continued, leaning in slightly, you don't have any power over me anymore. No more lies, no more manipulation, no more second chances. You're done. Her lip trembled. For the first time, I saw something real behind her eyes. Fear. I stood up, sliding my coffee away, untouched. Goodbye, Ashley. She didn't stop me this time. She just sat there, staring at the wreckage of her own making. I walked out of the cafe without looking back. The moment my foot hit the sidewalk, I felt it. Freedom. No more lies. No more betrayal. No more Ashley. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Another text from my lawyer. Divorce finalized. You're officially free. I let out a breath I didn't even realize I was holding. It was done. I glanced through the cafe window. Ashley was still sitting there, staring at the table, unmoving. She had lost. Her affair? Exposed. Her attempt to frame me? Ruined. Her comfortable life at my expense? Gone. And me? I walked away clean. No baggage, no guilt. Just the knowledge that justice had been served. As I turned the corner, I smirked. Some people say revenge isn't worth it, that it doesn't bring closure, but trust me, watching Ashley crumble under the weight of her own actions, it was worth every second. What do you think? Did Ethan go too far, or did Ashley get exactly what she deserved? Let me know in the comments below.